This is Beyond the Classroom with Peter Jefferson.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Classroom Australia for another episode. And today we are talking to a beautiful lady from India. Her name is Caroline George, and she has been in education for over 7 years, working in kindergartens and primary schools. She has done her degree in fine arts. She holds a web designing diploma and has completed a diploma in Montessori Education. She's currently working for an organisation called WhiteHat Jr, where she teaches children how to do coding. Welcome, Caroline, to Beyond the Classroom.
I'm so happy to be here. It is a pleasure.
So, Caroline, could you tell us where you're from in India?
I'm from a place called Chennai, and Chennai is the capital of Tamil Nadu. And it's a great place to be in because we are near the sea and we enjoy the climate here.
Beautiful. So you've been in education for over 7 years. Can you tell us a little bit about your career in education over that time?
Yes. So since my childhood, I have had the eagerness to follow in the line of my teachers who have molded me in my life. So I also love being around kids who are always fresh in their thoughts, and their innocent action drive me to work among them. So I actually come from a lineage of teaching profession. So I guess it's in my blood. And in the field of education, we work with molding children. So I like doing that. I believe that we can catch them young and they can change the world.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. That's such a nice answer. So, Caroline, could you just tell us a little bit about the schools that you've worked at and how you came into your job right now in coding?
I worked with a kindergarten school initially. It was just for about 8 months. But that was the driving force. That's where I knew that my passion is teaching. And they gave me an entire new platform working with just 20 kids per classroom, and I could easily connect with them. So once I knew that this is what I was called for, and that led me to study further. Since I'm a web designer by profession, I had to just switch my career because of my children. I had to be with them. So just because of that, it drove me to want to teach more. Then I started working with another school called St. John's Public School. That's where I started working with the kindergarten school. There, they gave me a lot of innovation, like we could innovate anything that we want to make the class interesting. I really worked with them, and they gave me a lot of space to do all the work. So it was interesting. That's where I knew that this is the place that I have to be, work with children. Yes.
So you did your training in Montessori. Did you do that during your time as a teacher, or was that prior to that?
No, I did it as I was teaching. So that really helped. While I was teaching, I was doing my kindergarten course. That helped me, like, while whatever I was learning, I could implement it in my classroom. That really helped me a lot. Since I've come from a lineage of teachers, this was already in my blood, and I already had 2 sons by that time. And teaching my children and learning helped me to balance the entire thing. And that is the driving force.
Fantastic. So can you tell me a little bit about the education system in India? Do you have to have a degree behind you to teach? How do you become a teacher in India?
We need basic bachelor degree, and we need very good communication skills. That's what they really look for. And the school that took me in saw the love and passion that I have towards kids. And with that, I promised them that while I will teach, I will finish my kindergarten course. So since I promised them, I kept my word, and they loved I did a trial class for them. And they loved the way I took the class. So that is how they take teachers in. There's a course called B.Ed, where we have to do a bachelor of degree in education. So that is a must, actually. But I couldn't do that. For primary education, that is a must. So for kindergarten, if you do Montessori course, that is more than enough. So they gave me a period of 1 year time to complete it, which I did.
Fantastic. And so you got into, after that, coding. which is
Yeah.
probably web designing. And how did that come about?
Actually, when I was working with the school, what happened was there was a long time that I had to spend in school. I couldn't get time for my kids. So I had to make a choice. And one of the parents was working with WhiteHat Jr. And she saw the way I communicate. She knew a little about my previous background as a web designer. So after the school got over, she just approached me personally and she asked me if you would be interested as a part-time work. So I started working part-time and I was working in school and I was doing this part-time. And I couldn't balance both school and coding classes. So I had to choose. So when it came to choice, I thought I could work from home. That is what I wanted, where I can balance my family, also do what I love best, teaching. So this gave me that platform.
So in India, with education for children, is online learning, I know the COVID has been a big player in most countries, but is online learning becoming more popular with schools, or in general, are there schools opening up?
Very much. The schools are coming up with online teaching. They're giving two options. One is offline and one is online, where the parents are still not come out of that COVID situation. So they feel they need that option. And the school that I worked with, I was doing online classes for them. The school actually gave us the platform to really explore online teaching. And we had cartoons and we had straw puppets. We used to bring all that to make it more lively. So online teaching became a little more, little activity based, and it was fun based, and it is still happening now. I'm also, since I'm taking coding classes, most of the parents say this is much better. I don't have to drop my kids. I don't have to pick them up. So this is much easier, and the teacher is always there, and it's one-on-one. And that became, actually in India, it's catching up, this online teaching. Yes.
Fantastic. So what is the education system like in India? Is it a standardized system, which most countries are? What's it like for students in India?
Actually, primary education in India is actually divided into two parts, like lower primary, upper primary. Like we have from first grade to the fourth grade, and the upper primary is from fifth to eighth. Actually, the Indian government lays emphasis on primary education. So that is free if it is government school. So that is free. And education laws are given by the states. The primary school actually alters everything between what the state government says. As I said, the secondary education covers like about ages from 14 to 18. The final 2 years becomes higher secondary. That is like, we call it like +1 and +2. So students finishing the 10th exam actually take up 6 subjects. That's like English, maths, social, science, and there's one language that they can opt for. And when it comes to the higher secondary, that is +1 and +2, they give them an option of taking computer application, economics, commerce, science, so maths, all that comes in +1 and +2. So these are what we follow in India. We also have, when students take biology as their option, we have a NEET exam that they have to write. And students opting for maths take the JEE for courses like engineering. So the government schools and the government-aided schools, like private schools, they give opportunities for the children to do this.
And so do all children have the opportunity to have an education in India?
Yes, all the schools. All the students get a chance because we have private schools and we have government schools. The government schools are mostly free, and private schools are paid fees. We need to pay the fees. But government schools gives them the opportunity. So everybody in India, all the children get an opportunity to study. Yes.
Fantastic. So does your country focus on well-being of students and educators? How do they do that in the system? I know that we have very much focus on, there's a lot more focus on wellbeing now due to COVID, but there's always been programs and things in schools. However, generally it's to do with the subject, like if you're going to learn English, you're there to learn English. But I just wondered, as COVID's come and as wellbeing is becoming more and more prevalent, especially in Australia, How does your country focus on that for students and teachers?
I look at it like the well-being of the student is like here they make sure that their health and happiness is good. And since it's the COVID situation, like the situation at home might not be good. I had an experience of a student who lost his mother. So the mental and the physical health needs to be taken care, and they do that. And as teachers, we support them a lot. I've also studied like well-being is like a very broad concept. And actually, it covers psychological and physical ability of a child. So we need to take care of in India, we take care of their emotional well-being, their physical well-being. That is the ability to improve their body condition. Like they need to eat right and their good exercises, and they need to have good habits that they need to follow. And especially even social well-being, that is to be able to communicate, have a meaningful relationship with others, and create one's own emotional support network. So like workplace that I can say is the well-being of a person. In school, that's where we concentrate. The education here concentrates for the children, their well-being, their emotional, the physical, and the social. So that's what I think.
Fantastic. Talking about students, what do you do to sort of make sure you're really focused on that, every child in your class?
Actually, in recent days, students have been fostering to individuality through learning and teaching. And here in India, we follow a good educational strategy, which like encourages interaction between teachers and learners. So we have different learning styles. So primarily, you can say that there is creativity in whatever they learn, which requires like active mode of learning. And we need to have a new teaching format every time we teach the child, and the teacher becomes the coach. So creative teachers are willing to change. So they welcome new experiences. They are not afraid to go off the main track, maybe take them to the ground or take them one step forward, like, take them near the trees, just to explore. So teachers have now started implementing that change. They need that support and acceptance. So this is coming inside India. Earlier, it wasn't there, that creativity. They were not giving the teachers the space for that. But now creativity has come in. Creative teaching has been identified, and they wanted to be creative. And the school that I worked with gave us that opportunity also. So thus creative teachers actually gives birth to creative students. So that is what is today's generation in India.
It sounds like, from what I read also in your notes, that, and what you've just said, is they become more coaches and less about instructional knowledge base, which sounds really interesting.
Very true, very true. We become the coach. We give them the role model. We just give them the platform to do it, and they take it up from there.
Beautiful. So how are educators treated in your country, in India? Like, are they well paid? Are they respected? Do you have any celebrations?
Yes, I personally feel the school teachers are paid less compared to the amount of work that they take from us, but they are respected in society. Especially, we are given days of celebration like Teachers' Day. We celebrate it on September 5th. So that time they give us a lot of importance. It is all up to the teachers, I feel. So maybe we don't get treated very well, but the parents treat us pretty well. But we are paid less in India. I kind of feel that, because compared to the IT industry, which is being paid a lot, we in India, the teachers don't get paid much. So I feel it is a little to a lower scale rather than the higher scale.
And I think that's so far across the board, that seems to be something that's coming out in most of my conversations, is that their teachers are not paid as well as other professional areas in that country. So it seems to be something that might need to be looked at around the world.
Yes, they look at us like a social media, like we need to do it as a social work rather than like getting paid for it. So I do feel that, this is my passion. That's why I can do teaching well. So teaching becomes a passion rather than the money or anything. Teaching is a passion in which we do. So it doesn't, at the end of the day, money does matter, but our passion for teaching just overlooks all that.
It does. And I think that's something that's come out in when I was speaking to Christina in Italy. She said the same, like that passion for teaching is so important, but it'd be lovely for that to be represented with money as well, just to keep that fire going and not look anywhere else.
Yes, very true. Very true.
So what is the most important thing a teacher should remember? You know, we're talking about passion. What's something that you think is most important a teacher needs to remember?
So when you ask that question, the first thing that strikes me is to be innovative. Always easy to do what we've always done before, but it's not always the best. So we need to have innovation in what we do, especially teaching. And that takes courage. Change takes courage. So don't be afraid of change. I say, think out of the box and be innovative in your classroom. And another thing that I feel is we need to always reconnect with the reasons why we became a teacher. What is the vision of my career as a teacher? And what is my role as a teacher in my classroom? So if we ponder on those thoughts, then we can become a better teacher. And I think that is important. And always teach your students to be their own teachers so that they can learn from their mistakes. That's also important. And the students sometimes just need a teacher to believe in him or her. So I feel this, we need to strive to be that kind of a person to a student, to believe in your students. So that's what I feel is the important thing.
Fantastic. And you said to be have courage. Can you give an example of when you've had to have courage to be innovative in your career?
Actually, I'm so used to puppets and only hand-based way of teaching in kindergarten. But when I came into online teaching, that did not work that much. So I had to make this change where I had to work with technology. Technology took some time for me to take it because with the help of this webcam, I could bring in a live animation right next to me. I could bring an elephant jumping out of me. And that took me a while to learn that technology. So that was the innovation that I want to bring into the class. I almost lost my courage. I needed to have courage to take that change. So that was one of the examples that I can give. And I did it. At the end of it, I did it.
That sounds so cool because, you know, especially in online learning, we probably don't have it as much. But, you know, coming up with innovative ways to engage your kids is quite difficult. So that sounded really cool and would have taken a bit of work, I imagine.
Yes, very much.
How do you encourage kids to value the education you're giving them? What things do you do?
One thing is give them a platform for reading. If you give children a love to read, if you develop their love for learning, if children who struggle with reading, they struggle with learning. So reading not only helps children develop a much richer vocabulary, it actually helps their brain to learn how to process the concepts and the formal communication that happens. So that is the primary thing. And then I kind of feel that we need to give the child the driver's seat as much as possible. So when it comes to education, some kids experiences like control from their parents. Do this, do that, don't do this. So when a child feels controlled or maybe out of control, when it comes to education, they often withdraw from learning. So we need to give them that driver's seat where they can explore. And the third thing I feel is encourage them to speak. Open and sincere communication from them. Let them express their opinion, what's going on in their world of education. Give them an atmosphere, an open atmosphere where they can express their feelings, their likes, their dislikes, their concerns. And that is one. And another thing we can focus on is the child's interest. So when education gives a platform where we see what the child is interested in, what are the areas or the subjects that the child is interested in, then learning becomes more fun and children start engaging in learning and education. And if you really want to help your child to become a good learner, encourage them, like to explore the topics, the subjects that they are interested in, whichever fascinates them. And another thing is game-based learning. Give them, like, game-based learning is not a new concept. It has been there around for a very long time. But it is a very adventurous approach where using games as educational tool not only provides opportunities for deeper learning, but it also develops their non-cognitive skills. It helps them to motivate children who want to learn. So that's what I feel.
Beautiful. You talk from that passion. Do you find that parents are also on board, or how do you get parents on board with this sort of way of thinking?
Yeah. Currently, I'm seeing that parents are interested in this kind of learning. Since I did Montessori, I could see whenever parents come and approach me, they feel, Mom, you are doing this pretty well. And they encourage me to do that kind of learning. And my child did this at home. And, when we do games with water, and even at home, they explore that. And parents do come back to me and they say, Ma'am, the child could understand this better because of the learning that you gave them, which was game-based. They used to come and approach me and tell me that is a good way of learning. So I think it is picking up. The parents are loving that way of learning.
I think so. And I think, Montessori has a different approach to the standardized or, general teaching, in the fact that you do have that time to communicate well.
Yes, because Montessori is all activity-based, do and learn. So that way, children tend to learn better. That's a good approach.
So next question, what area as a teacher can you be better at?
When I looked into it, I need to self-evaluate myself. What can I do better? I could have done it this way. What is it that I can do better? Tomorrow can be a new day, a new approach. So I need to do, self-evaluation is one thing. And another thing is pedagogical learning, where pedagogical learning is like the previous learning of the students and work with the development of skills. And that is the attitude of the learners that we are looking at. So that is very important. And it's not theory-based, it has to be practical. That is one approach that I need to make it better. And being a leader. And a leader is a person who the student has to follow. So I want to be that kind of a leader that the child can follow me. And I need to continuously learn. So that is the area as a teacher that I can do better. Learn every day. There should be continuous learning.
Fantastic. You sound like you're very diligent with that, ensuring that you're reflecting on your work and finding what's working and what's not, and then, you keep learning and moving forward. So if you can go back and speak to only one teacher from your younger years, who would it be and what would you say?
Yes. I think I would go back to my physics teacher. And her name is Mrs. Agnes Samuel, and she had a lovely way of teaching in a very practical way and always made sure that all the students are listening. She never left any one of us out. And the thing that I would say to her is, today what I am is because of all the words of encouragement she gave me, you gave me, and you always reminded me that we must have a never give up attitude towards life. You taught us that life is a journey and changes are a part of the process. Adapt to it. And thank you so much, ma'am, for teaching us more than the subject physics.
Beautiful. So she obviously was very passionate about education for children.
Yes, very much.
How can we get parents to take more of an interest in their children?
Yes. Every child's first learning institution starts at home. So children learn the most from their parents, and that is the environment that we have to provide for them. The love and the compassion that we show at home, that's what gets reflected when they come to school. So that is a vital role that we have to play. We need to show them love and compassion at home. So the father and mother need to be a role model to the child, and spending time with the kids, maybe doing simple chores along with them will help them to be better individuals. And the next is listen to your kids. They have more to say. So we don't seem to have the time to listen to our kids. So we need to listen to them and hug them more. That physical touch is a very important thing that we are missing out these days, that both the parents are working always on the move, run, 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 but there's no physical touch. So children love to be hugged. So we need to hug them more. And they look for small gestures, maybe a small kiss that would really ease off their time. Yeah, and always include the children in family decisions. That makes them feel important. So I think these are things that we can do as parents to make bring in more interest in their kids. Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to share? We've talked about the system in India. We've talked about well-being. So I suppose the other thing that I haven't touched on is, does India have any spiritual or religious education for students at all schools, or is there particular schools that have that?
Yes, actually in India, students are being imposed with spiritual and religious education because there are like different religions in India. It's not one particular religion. We have Hindus, we have Muslims, we have Christians. So we have Muslim schools, we have Christian schools, we have Hindu schools. So what happens is Hindu schools give more importance to their Vedas, like there is something called Ramayana and Mahabharata, and they insist on that in their school prayers. But when it comes to Christian schools, they have Christian songs, we read scripture portions, and we say the Lord's Prayer. Muslim schools also follow their religious practice, but we are all in one. And so there is no division, but they follow their pattern and nobody questions them. But we have two types of education. One is like CBSE pattern and the other is a state board pattern. So the school opts for that. So even if it is a Hindu school, it can be a CBSE pattern. And if it is a Christian school, also it can follow the CBSE pattern. So these are the religions that we in India follow, actually.
So just to get that clear, there is a Hindu school or a Muslim school, and you follow, is that the curriculum of India that you're talking about?
No, it is not a curriculum. It is a religion, that's all.
So they just do the religion in the school, but it's just a part of the learning.
Yes, it's a part of the learning.
Yeah, fantastic. Is there anything else you'd like to share about India, the education system, or your personal journey as a teacher?
I'm so happy to be in India. India is a great place to be. It has given me an opportunity. It gives me different, wide range of opportunities to explore. There is no boundary here. So we can tend to explore. Even if you are a woman, it's not that they constrain that. So India is a place where we can explore things. So there is no restriction here. I kind of feel that is my thought on that.
Fantastic. So a good place to be as a teacher if you only need to be paid a little bit more, and you might have a whole lot more people over there.
Very much.
Well, thank you. I can really hear your passion as a teacher, as an educator in India, and I really appreciate your time. And thank you so much for being part of the podcast. And if anyone's got any questions out there for Caroline about the Indian education system, please don't hesitate to contact us. So have a wonderful rest of the day, and I look forward to catching up with you all again. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
This has been Peta Jepson with Beyond the Classroom. Check out her website to book a free 15-minute discovery call today. Thanks for joining Peta Jepson. Connect with a community of like-minded educators and follow Beyond the Classroom on Facebook and Instagram. You've been listening to Peta Jepson. To take that next step and achieve your purpose, contact Beyond the Classroom and book some one-on-one coaching with Peta today. This has been Peta Jepson, supporting teachers to find balance. For more tips and tricks, check out Beyond the Classroom's webinar series. Thanks for joining us. If you've got ideas about how to find better balance, share them on Beyond the Classroom's Facebook page.